Hey guys, welcome to Clix Corner. Today I'm talking about the 2017 Q5 watch list. So I'll start off by talking about the one thing that was on the list that didn't change, which was Boxing Ring. Now, I don't think Boxing Ring is overpowered, but I think it can give a lot of advantage to teams for 12 points. Because teams that use it are going to be built around it. So you end up with these loopholes like Kingdom Come team ability where you aren't unaffected by it, but your opponent is. And I suppose exploitations like that are just part of some games, although they are a bit dirty. The combination of like energy shield and other sort of things, and the -2 to the attacking character is kind of strong. Ultimately, I would have been happier if they'd made it so that the ropes were just hindering terrain and you got +1 on close combat attacks while inside it. But to be honest, I'm totally fine with them having like no actual changes to this. I think more or less it's okay. And to be honest, I thought the multi-base errata was already a thing. Like rules change. I thought the multi-base rules change was already a thing, so I mean, I thought they'd like clarified that a while back. So I don't know. I mean, that's just fair enough. You can't argue with that, I guess. The next thing on the list was, of course, Haha Joker, which needed a rattering from the moment they announced it. And to be honest, I'm pretty disappointed about what they've done. Now, I do own one of these, but I've never actually used it. I like the errata to make it not optional that you have to roll the d6 to stop you from camping on Clix. However, I don't like the ability to heal or damage him still, but I'll explain that in a second. Next, the terminology "the Joker can't be chosen for Mastermind" sounds to me like they are admitting they're ballsed up. I mean, they basically do that anyway as soon as they put something on the watch list, or in many cases as soon as they release something. But by saying Mastermind specifically rather than damage can't be transferred to it, it sounds like they knew that was going to be a problem, so they got rid of it. If it was released in the first place with this effect, it would say damage can't be transferred to it. And for me, it would just be a bit smoother as well. Maybe I'm reading too much into it, but that's how much I see it. I like the explanation that says the Joker just offers too many clicks of life. Yeah, no shit, Sherlock. Uh, you know, I think we all knew that from the get-go. And I also like the part where it says that other changes to him were more complicated or didn't change enough of what he was doing, which is basically what I've been saying since he got watchlisted, that I didn't really know what changes they could do to him that would actually change him and be worth doing. But the last thing is them saying that they left him the ability to choose either healing him or damage because that's part of the fun. Well, I don't like the ability to damage him because it basically gives you the option of the whole camping thing again. I mean, it lets you pick and choose whichever Clix you're going to, rather than if you just had to heal him or if you just had to damage him, then if you had to damage him, he would officially not be a good figure anymore because he'd still be worth the points, I reckon, but he'd cross his starting lines more, so you'd have a good chance of killing him off yourself. Which I don't think I'd necessarily want, but if you had to heal him, it just takes away the ability to choose. And it would be a tiny thing, I think. I don't think it would really matter very much. It would take away this whole camping thing, but I don't know. That's my 2 cents on the Haha Joker erratas. We're into the erratas that actually quite disappointed me, stroke annoyed me. The first thing I noticed in the Unimind errata is, how is he comparable to Alloy? I mean, yeah, they both break into figures, but the way they've written this suggests that Alloy is as good, and it is not. Alloy is cool and fair. Okay, so the first thing is the fact that you still get your +2s and -2s, which is ridiculous still, because the problem with resources this whole time was the number boosts, and that, Unimind's going to get those numbers, and other people are going to not. Now, the errata to make it so he can only target Eternals does mean that although he is able to do -2s to other Uniminds, which is fair enough. I mean, mirror match your brains out. But it means he can't target other people with -2s, which is incredibly more fair. But I don't think that, for me, this really satisfies some of the grievances I had with his perplexes. One thing that did surprise me was the fact that it didn't reduce the amount of people Unimind can add to his force. I mean, to be honest, I thought that was an obvious thing to do, just to reduce the power pool he can choose from. It's really the stat boosts that make him a real problem, but I mean, if they just made it so that he was less of a picker power, then he wouldn't compete with the other picker powers as well. So then, you know, it'd be a bit more of a level playing field. But nonetheless, I shan't complain about that. Um, and the fact that they've made it so that they've removed the bit where Unimind gets new powers when he takes damage, which is absolutely fair, even though entities do it, so in a lot of ways maybe you should be able to. But it is not as much of an errata as when Goblin King had to choose at the start of your turn. I mean, that is what Unimind now has, but to me, it's just not as much, it's not going to damage the figure quite as much. One other interesting thing we did get from Unimind is a new rules change, which basically states that speed powers are now any speed powers you can use, for example. It's the same with everything else, which just makes sense. I don't know why this wasn't the way in the first place. Now, the thing I liked about Jakim's errata, which is obviously my least favourite of the three, is that they've said that Jakim would potentially be dominant in the next age, with other characters getting nerfed but him not getting nerfed. And I'm just sat there thinking, no. I mean, Unimind has been completely dominating the game since he came out, and Goblin King would have if he hadn't got errated so quickly, but he's definitely turning up a lot. But I really don't think Unimind is going to go anywhere. I think he's still going to be in the game. If Jakim is able to win things again, then he's going to be able to compete. He's not going to be winning every single thing like Unimind. One thing that is interesting is that the only errata they actually did to do this is to add Shape Change to the list of powers he can't use. He can only pick one of, which, to be honest, is kind of fair. I mean, it was a nice loophole being able to add that as well as a defense power, but it was definitely something that I like to do. But as long as they didn't take stealth away, which is my usual go-to if I want a second defense power, I'm okay with it because that's typically what I do. But I do like shape change and stealth with Jakim. I'm gonna miss the shape change, but it means that your options open a bit more and you might want to start playing a bit more risky. You might want to take like a perplex or an outwit or something instead of the shape change and a defense power. So yeah, I mean it might just change him up a bit. It's a shame. So that's my overall reaction to the watch list. What would I say about it? I'd say I'm disappointed. That's more or less it. Thank you for watching and goodbye.